Shishtam Manamapi Shachiputram Atra Surupam Rupam Tasyagrajamuri Puri Maturim Goshtavartim Radha Kundam Giribaram Oh Radhika Madhvasam Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Sri Guru Tam Natosmi Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaye Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Anandalilamaya Vigrahaya Hema Bhadivyatschavi Sundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasapradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Bhaktya Vina Aparada Lakshay Shivasya Kamaritarangamati Kripa Maikam Sharanam Prapanam Vrinde Namaste Sharanarvindam Vrinde Namaste Sharanarvindam Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Hey Krishna Hey Yada Hey Saketi Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Shama Sundar Shikanda Shekar Smarhas Murali Manohara Radhikar Sukhamama Kripanidhe Swapriyachana Kinkurim Kuru Tavaivasmi Tavaivasmi Najivami Taya Vina Iti Vikyaya Devi Tam Namaham Chanantikam. First of all, I offer my sastang Dandavat Puspanjali, my heart like flowers thousands and thousands of times, at the lotus feet of my holy master, my supremely worshipable spiritual guru, Asmadev Paramaradhatama Guru Pada Padma, Nitya Pravishta Om Vishnupad Ashtotara Satasishimad Rupanugacharya Varya Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. Secondly, I offer my pranam thousands of times at the lotus feet of my Param Gurudev, to Srila Prabhupada and to our Sri Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Parampara. And finally, I offer my pranam to all the sons of Vaishnavas and by the causeless mercy of Sri Guru and Gauranga, for 4 days we have been hearing about the glories of the holy name. Nikila Sruti Mauli Ratnamala Juti Indira Jita Tava Pankajanta Ai Muktula Upasmanam Partastam Harinama Sansvayami. Srila Rupa Goswami Pai, he prays, O Nam Prabhu, I take complete shelter of you. The mantras of the Upanishads, which are the crushed jewels of the Vedas, offer puja to the tips of the toes of Harinam, while on all sides the hosts of liberated great Mukta Mahapurushas are glorifying and offering prayers to Nam Prabhu. That means that this Nam, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This name has toes. Because the effulgence emanating from the mantras of the Upanishads are worshipping those toes. So Srila Rupa Goswami is expressing his experience, direct realization of the Swarup, the form of Nam Prabhu. So, we want to attain this. But even after chanting for many hours, many weeks, many months, perhaps many years, or many decades, but we don't have the darshan of Krishna. Why not? Tabu jani aparada tohite prachu Krishna nama bija tahe na kare ankur. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Pad, he said, Harinam is like a seed. Krishna nama bij. And it does ankur, it sprouts. That means it reveals in Kram, in a sequence. See Krishna's astonishingly beautiful form, his sweetness and qualities, associates and pastimes, gradually. But if one is chanting every day the holy names, but this seed is not opening and revealing its identity, his identity, then tabu jane aparada tohete prachur Krishna nama bija tohe na kore ankur. Then it is to be understood that that person, they have prachur aparad, so many offenses to the holy name. There are 10 offenses to the holy name. And these 10 obstacles are the only thing standing between you and drowning in the ocean of praying. Niraparad naam loile pai prema dhan. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, just chant without offense. And Nam Prabhu will do the rest. He'll do everything else. Kintvad radanu dinam kalusai vajusta swadvi kramat bhavati tat gadamula hantri. With Adar, if we chant the holy name with great respect, with the utmost honor, then just as by taking sugar candy, the jaundice goes away, so our avidya, bodily identification, will gradually go away. And we can realize our eternal loving service to Sri Krishna. So try to be very attentive to avoid the 10 offenses to the holy name. These are like 10 hurdles that you have to cross to arrive in Goloka Vrindavan. But unfortunately, in this journey, many of the jivas, the living entities of Kali Yuga, due to ill fortune, they crash at the first fence. What to speak of avoiding 10 types of namaparad? They cannot even give up the first one. What is the first one? Sathandinda namna paramam aparadam vitanate yatakyatim yatam katam usate tadvigai. First offense to the holy name is to criticize devotees. So, in Sanskrit he said, Ninda rasa sada pibet. Enjoy your life by always drinking the rasa of criticism of others. This is how we feel good about ourselves. You know that person, and then think like this. You have a cup of coffee and talk with your friends and criticize everyone and feel special. So, Ninda rasa, the mellows of criticism. Very delicious. Sada pibet, always drink this sweet nectar. Should we be like this? Never. In Chaitanya Bhagavati it is said, Kahare ninda karo Krishna Krishna bole. Aje Chaitanya say jini be kahale. Nindu ka nahi kalabyo sabha shastikaye. Sabara saman Bhagavata dharma hoy. Means Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Ajay, unconquerable, supreme. But you can capture him, you can conquer him. He'll become yours. If you just do two things. Kahare na ninda kare, never criticize anyone. Krishna Krishna bole and chant. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. All the time. Only have to do these two things, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will be yours. Nindukana ikalabhya. Those who minimize the value of others, they never attain anything good in their life. Because Bhagavad Dharma, the religion of Srimad Bhagavatam, is Sabara Saman, to respect every living being. Why? Jive Jani Krishna Adhishthan. Because Krishna is living in the heart of everyone. Sri Krishna said, Parasubhava karamani na prasangsati nindati sahasu brasate pumbi asatya biniveshataha. Sri Krishna told Uddhav, don't criticize and also don't glorify the karma, the activities and the swabhav, the nature of other people. This relates to it doesn't mean you should not glorify Vaishnavas. We should try to always glorify Vaishnavas. But it refers to the worldly qualities of conditioned souls. Don't criticize, don't praise them also. Why? Because the worldly qualities of conditioned souls, they are coming from three gunas. So if you are glorifying or criticizing, now you're doing kirtan of the three gunas of Maya. So you're not doing Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. You're doing Maya Sankirtanam. Understand? So Asatya Biniveshata. If a person will praise or criticize the conditioned qualities of other jivas, then they sa'asu prasyate. They quickly lose the thread of their own well-being. Our well-being is to look at ourselves and see our own faults and try to overcome them. If we have so many anarthas, so many attachments, so many bad habits, we don't have time to clean another person's kitchen. We have to clean our own kitchen. So if we give our attention out there, then so many thieves. If you're looking at someone else's kitchen, the thieves will come and steal from your house. That means many bad qualities will come, and whatever progress you have made, it will be taken away. And you will relapse. So, asatya, by speaking the faults of others, criticizing others, you get asatya binivesh, absorption in that which is asat, not true. Asat, that which is not true. Why? Because the faults of a devotee, they are aghantuk. That means superficial. A living being, they may have many, many faults. But if they have said, "Oh my Lord Krishna, I am yours," and they're trying to serve Krishna, just this one quality, by this quality Krishna accepts them. Apichat sujaracharo bhajate mam ananyabhak sadhureva samantavyat samyak samvyahito hisaha. Krishna said that person is a sadhu. So the faults, they are of the physical body, of the material mind, but the soul has turned his attention to Krishna. So those faults are called agantuk. Very superficial coverings of material energy, and they'll go away very soon. In this life, or after a few lifetimes, they'll be gone very soon. So, my dear brothers and sisters, if you want to progress in spiritual life, try to see the good qualities in others and speak that. If you know someone who's 99% bad, look for the 1% good, and if someone says, "Oh, you know this devotee," yes, and then speak that 1%, and then be quiet. If you do this, you'll never have any problem in your spiritual life. And if any obstacle will come, Krishna himself will come and remove it. Because Chipram bhavati dharmatma sasvat shanti nigatsati. Krishna said, if a person sees those who are dedicated to me, they are sadhus, then I quickly make that person perfect. And they attain everlasting peace. Every other, someone can say, but, all this but is material consideration. And actually, himsa, enviousness of other jivas. This is our own anartha, not their problem. This is our anartha. So, in the Mahabharata, there Bhishma Dev said, when you speak the fault of another person, then very soon that fault will come to you. If what you're saying is 100% true. Someone has a fault, and you speak it. You don't exaggerate. Tell it as it is. Unadulterated truth. Tell it as it is. Then 100% of that fault will come to you. And if what you're saying is not true, then 200% of that fault, which wasn't there anyway, but it will come to you. Yeah? Bhishma Dev has explained this. He knows, he's a Bhajan. He knows about dharma. So, this is the first aparat to the holy name. Then other 9, you can study about them in Jaiva Dharma of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, or his Harinam Chintamani, in Bhakti Sandarbha of Jiva Goswami and other places. By the way, you can also look online. I've given many classes for days and days, just explaining each one, step by step. Make an effort, make a great effort. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, a colossal struggle. One will not overcome the offenses to the holy name without undergoing a colossal struggle. So be ready to enter into this. And when it's done, then your life will be perfect. Nam will reveal himself. These qualities, associates and pastimes. And bhav will come, and Krishna Prem will come. This is the duty of our life. So, our topic for today. Yesterday we discussed how this material world is manifest from the subtle element. First from Prakriti, Mahatattva, Ahankar, Buddhi, Manas, all the way down to the grossest element, earth. So by your own experience, you can directly witness how earth is very gross, but water is more fine. And fire is finer than that. And air is finer than that. And the space in which the air moves is finer than the air. But your mind is finer than space. This is why, no matter how many thoughts you have, thousands and millions of thoughts, but still your head never becomes full. Right? Because mind is finer than space. And intelligence is even more subtle. And the dreaded ego, ahankar, mundane identification is even more slippery and difficult to grasp, difficult to understand. Because it's finer than the mind and finer than the intelligence, neither the mind or the intelligence can understand the ego even. And finer than that is chitta. And then you come to Atma, your soul. So you know what is finer than the soul? Everything in the spiritual world. All the spiritual world. The blades of grass, the trees, the creepers. Everything is superior to us. This is why Srila Raghunath Das Goswami said, Yat kinchit trinagul makikate makam goste samastamitat sarvanandamayam mukundayatam lila nukulam param shastrat eva moho mohosputapidam nistankitam yatsya brahmade apisasprina taridam sarvam maya bandete. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami Pad said, I bow down, dandavat pranam, again and again, with tears in my eyes, to the blades of grass in Goloka Vrindavan, to the creepers, to the insects, the mosquitoes there. You are all worshipable to me. Why? Savanandamaya. You are all Anandamaya, full of Ladini Shakti. Do you have Ladini Shakti? Are you full of Krishna's pleasure potency? Perhaps not. But they are. They are. And they're all Leela Anukulam, rendering favorable service in the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. So everything there is fine, superior to us. Krishna's Dham, Krishna's Leela, his associates, his own form. And they're all very dear to him. Sri Krishna said, Hey Uddhav, na tata me prayaktama, atman yoni na shankara, na sankashana na sriya, tadat maiva yatha bhavan. O Uddhav, no one is more dear to me. Atma Yoni, Lord Brahma is not as dear to me as you are, Uddhav. Lord Shiva is not as dear to me as you are, Uddhav. Lakshmi Devi is not as dear to me as you are. Even my own brother Sankarshan is not as dear to me. Krishna said, even my own Atma, that means my own soul, my own body, is not as dear to me as you are, Uddhav. So how Krishna loves Uddhav? The Srila Sanatana Goswami Pad said a very wonderful thing. Though Krishna said, Uddhav, you are more dear to me than Brahma, Shiva, Lakshmi, my brother and my own soul. He never said, you are more dear to me than my name, Krishna. He never said it. Why? Because the name of Krishna is very dear to Krishna. And of all the spiritual world, Krishna's Leela, Krishna's associates, Krishna's qualities, Krishna's form, the most subtle thing in the spiritual world is Nam Prabhu. And Nam Prabhu includes everything. All things that exist in the spiritual world are present in Nam Prabhu. Radharani was crying, and she said to her Sakhi, oh, who is that person who first put the sound vibration, Shama, in my ear? When this name touches me, then I become mad. What will happen to me if I were to meet the person to whom this name is referring? I don't know. How much honey is in this name, Krishna, Krishna? My tongue won't leave it alone. So Radharani is realizing the beauty, the nectar of Krishna Nam. So that is the finest and most wonderful thing. Srila Narottam Das Thakur said, Golok her Premadhan, Harinam Sankirtan. And that, the greatest treasure of the spiritual world, was imported to Vilnius by Gaur-Nitai. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu and their associates and followers have brought this greatest treasure of Golok Vrindavan in the form of Nam to give to us. So how wonderful that is. If you could realize what a great treasure this name is, Chintamani, a wish-fulfilling jewel of the name, then you would leave all things and simply chant and serve Nam Prabhu and serve the devotees who are serving Nam Prabhu. Prabhu kohe Vaishnav Seva Nama Sankirtan Dui karo shigra pabe Sri Krishna Charan. Mahaprabhu said, chant the holy names and serve the pure Vaishnavas. And by this, you will quickly attain in your hands the lotus feet of the son of Nanda Maharaj, Krishna himself. So serving Nam and serving the servants of the Nam, this is our life and soul. It's necessary to serve Vaishnavas, otherwise, even though we may receive this treasure, but we don't value it. We think, Harinam, that's okay. That's alright. If there's a kirtan, maybe I'll half-heartedly move my mouth. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Might not dance. I think I'll sit at the back. Hare Krishna. Yeah? This name is our greatest treasure. We have to serve, chanting loudly. Mahaprabhu was chanting loudly. Hare Krishna Sutstai Rasana Nama Ganana Kritagranti Shreni Subhaga Kati Sutrajala Kara Vishalakshar Digagala Yugala Kelan Chitabuja Sachaitanya Kimme Punarapidisto Yasyati Padam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he made a japamala from the string of his underwear. You know, the sannyasis wear kopin and around the waist there's a string. So he tied it in knots, made 108 knots, and he was chanting japa. But how? Like this, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Loudly chanting japa. So our full energy, without any shame or shyness, without any hesitation or inhibition, must serve Harinam. Then Nam will be very pleased with us. You see, even if you give up the 10 offenses to the holy name, then Namabhas has the power to reveal to you Krishna's form and qualities and sweetness. Namabhas can reveal this. But when you give up 10 offenses to the holy name and chant Namabhas, still there's no guarantee that Nam will actually reveal these things. Why? Srila Vishwanath Thakur gave an example. There was a servant of a wealthy merchant. And that servant, he was very trusted with money, and he began to misappropriate the funds. So then when his master found out, then he fired him. Get out. And sent him away. So then afterwards, that servant felt very bad. Oh, what did I do? My master was very kind. He gave me a very good job and he trusted me so much, and I betrayed him. And he felt very bad. And then he came back to his master and he began to serve him with no pay. No pay. Just to show his sincerity, that he was really actually repenting. And after some time, when his master saw that he was very sincere, then he decided to reinstate his privileges. So, Nam is like that. Gurudev gives us this transcendental name. But then what happens? We commit many offenses to the name. So then, this holy name does not share His divine glory with us. So then what do we have to do? Oh, repent. Durdaiva midrishamiha janinanuraga. Oh my Lord, you are so merciful that you allow us to easily approach you through your name. But I am so unfortunate, I have no eagerness for chanting. Alas, alas. And with great humility and repentance, beg again and again for the mercy of Nam Prabhu. And please Nam. So one of the most important ways of pleasing Nam, that is by serving the devotees who are already realizing and serving the holy name. Those who are chanting Harinam every day, and by Siddha Deha, in their spiritual form, serving the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna on the bank of Jamuna in Vrindavan. So, our chanting may not do so much to inspire Nam Prabhu to change his mind. But if we serve the devotees who are very dear to Nam Prabhu, then Nam thinks, oh, you please my devotee. Alright, and in this way, though we left Namaparag and we're chanting Namabhas, but realization is not coming, and when after some time we've won the trust of the holy name by serving him and serving Vaishnavas, then Nam Prabhu, alright. Astu te madanugrah, by my mercy, may everything be awakened in your heart. So this is the process. Otherwise, without Guru Seva, without Vaishnav Seva, we'll never come to grasp the true value and the true significance of our Harinam and Diksha initiations. Once upon a time, there was a very poor man, and he was wandering through a jungle. As he was wandering, he saw some pieces of iron here and there on the ground, just lying there. So he thought, this is probably worth a few pennies, a few dollars. So he got a cloth and he put all the pieces of iron in the cloth and he put it on his head and he was carrying it. So then he went a little bit further, and then he saw there were some pieces of silver lying around on the ground. This is strange, but I cannot carry both of them. What should I do? He thought this silver is more valuable than this iron. So he just threw the iron. And he wrapped up the pieces of silver in the cloth and put it on his head. So then he was walking. After some time, he saw, scattered here and there on the floor in the jungle, were pieces of gold. So I cannot carry all of this. let me put the silver down because gold is more valuable. So then he threw the silver down and wrapped up the gold and began to carry. So then he was walking further. And then he thought, what's going on? Am I dreaming? Is this a dream? Am I being haunted by a ghost and hallucinating? He saw there were jewels all over the ground. And he picked them up and he was looking. But the problem is this. He was not expert in gemology. He couldn't say for sure whether these were actual jewels, real rubies and diamonds and sapphires, or whether they were fake. So now he didn't know what to do with the gold. I mean, this gold, I know this is gold. I know gold. When I see gold, I know gold. But these jewels, I don't know. What should I do? He came in a quandary. So, we are like that. Who is that man? That is us. We are wandering through this forest of material life. And we're looking for something valuable. And then after some time we give it up and we find something more valuable. You know? At first you're a little baby. You never want to leave your mother. Oh, mama, mama, mama. Then you grow up, then you have some friends. So then you never go to your mama, you always want to be with your friends. Mother's calling, hey, come home, you have to come. Time for prasadam. But you don't want to go. Then after some time, then you grow up some more. Then you find your girlfriend or boyfriend, then you don't want to know your friends so much. All your friends are calling you but no answer. So this is our life. We're wandering through this jungle of material existence. We're looking for something valuable. Each time we throw something away and we take something. Then by great fortune, Gurudev gives us Harinam. And then we go, Is it valuable or not? Is it real or not? Should I invest 6-7 hours of my day, every day, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, chanting the holy names? Or should I spend my time doing other things? Huh? What should I do? We're not sure. So that is our position. What is that? Is only foolishness. Gurudev tells us, sadhus tell us, Shastra tells us, the holy name is our greatest treasure. All the Vedic authorities are telling us this. But still we don't accept it. We don't understand, we don't appreciate it. Why? Because of our adhikar. Our level of eligibility. There are 3 stages. Kanishta adhikari, neophyte devotee. Then Madhyam adhikari, the intermediate level of Vaishnavism. Then Uttam adhikari, the highest level of devotee. So the Kanishta adhikari, the neophyte devotee, has so many anarthas, attachments, misconceptions, internal contamination. Their chitta is somewhat overcrowded with material impressions. So they cannot experience the light shining from the tips of the toes of Nam Prabhu. Then, but if they will serve Madhyam adhikaris and Uttam adhikaris, slowly their anarthas will go away and they'll become Madhyam adhikari. The Madhyam adhikari, though he does not have full realization, praying, but some realization of the holy name of Krishna is manifesting, some spurti of the forms and qualities of Krishna is coming in his heart. So he's very firm, very strong, very dedicated. So it's necessary to serve Vaishnavas, then our adhikar, our level of eligibility will be updated. Then, when we hear the glories of the name, we take it very seriously. our Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he took something valuable from each of the 4 sampradayas. So one thing that he took from the Sri Sampradaya, Ramanuja Sampradaya, is their emphasis on Vaishnava Seva. So many thousands of years ago, before Ramanujacharya himself, there are many great saints who have illustrated the importance of serving Vaishnavas practically in their life. So once upon a time, about 5,000 years ago, there was a kingdom in South India, in the southern part of Kerala, called Travancore. So the king of Travancore, his name was Dhridavrata Maharaj. And his deity was the famous Ananta Padmanabha. Perhaps you've heard of this deity. In fact, just a few years ago, they discovered in the crypt beneath the temple of the deity of Ananta Padmanabha, billions and billions of dollars of jewels and gold was there. It was just discovered a few years ago. Massive wealth. Because back in those days, the kings, they would sometimes go to war and build their empire and take tribute from all of the kings, and they would offer all their jewels and gold to the deity. So back in those days, about 3,000 years BC, King Dhridavrata, though he was king, but everyone knew he does not own the kingdom. Who owns the kingdom? Ananta Padmanabha, the Supreme Lord whose navel is like a lotus, the deity of Ananta Padmanabha. And therefore, though the king was ruling his kingdom, every day, twice a day, he had to go to the temple, bow down to Ananta Padmanabha, and then read the judgments and various administrative deeds he'd done that day and give a report to his boss. So in this way, everyone knew that Supreme Lord Bhagavan, he is the owner and control of everything. The king is just like his minister or representative, and he has to be held accountable to the Lord every day. Very wonderful. Nice culture. Vedic culture. So, after some time, there was a crisis because the king did not have a son. So that's very problematic in Vedic culture, because the king should have an heir who will become the next king. So he did so many austerities and prayed to Lord Narayan. And Lord Narayan blessed him that you will have a son who will be a great Vaishnava. So in the year 3075 BC, his wife gave birth to a child, and he gave him the name Kulashekar, crest jewel of the dynasty. Kulashekar. So Kulashekar was raised, he was taught the Sanskrit and Vedas and politics and all the various arts that the king needs to know to perform his duty. And when his father became old, then his father gave up the throne and went to the forest to do austerities in the forest to perfect his life, to be ready to go to the spiritual world. Can you imagine? You live your whole life in luxury as a king, in a palace. And then when Panchasodvam Banam Brajet, when you are 50 years old, then you have to leave it all and live in the jungle and just chant the holy names and be absorbed in devotional service. This is a culture. Why people respected the kings then? They were worthy of respect. So his father left, and the young man, Kulashekar, became the king. So, at that time, his Vaishnava qualities were not manifest. He was doing his duties every day, but he thought, I'm the king, and I'm managing everything. Some ego was there. But gradually, by coming to the temple every day, giving his account to the Lord, and so on, giving in charity to the Brahmanas, by doing his karma, doing his dharma, he gradually rose up from the influence of the mode of ignorance and the mode of passion and came in very high level of sattva gun. Actually, Srila Rupa Goswami said, if you want to enter into Raganuga Bhakti, it depends on one thing only. Kripaika labhya, only by mercy. When we please a pure Vaishnava and they bless us, then we have the chance to enter into Raganuga Bhakti, otherwise not. But Vaidhi Bhakti, it may be entered into, in certain cases, by the offering of the results of your daily karmas to Krishna. It gives some adhikar to begin Vaidhi Bhakti. Raganuga Bhakti not, but in Vaidhi Bhakti. So by doing his daily karmas and so on, he gradually became more sattvic. And as he became sattvic, what happens? Sattvat sanjayate jnanam. From sattva gun comes knowledge. The power of discrimination. So as his knowledge awakened, along with jnana comes also vairagya, detachment. And he began to see that the world is just full of suffering. Sarvam eva dukam vivekinaha. Patanjali said, for those who have developed vivek, discrimination, they see the world is just full of pain. In Bhagavad Gita also, Sri Krishna has said, Dukalayam ashashvatam. This material world is a temporary place full of suffering. It is only due to the influence of rajas, the mode of passion which causes us to dream, that even while we're awake, we dream also. We dream, in the future I am going to enjoy so much. And that gives us inspiration to chase after the mirage of sense gratification, which is actually, this mirage, there's no water, it's a dry desert. So he began to realize how this world is a temporary place full of misery. Oh, in this story, I want to tell another story, one illustration. Once there was a yogi. His name was Jaigishavya. Jaigishavya. And he had developed the power of the samyam, concentration. And yesterday we discussed about samapati and how the yogis get mystic powers by concentrating their consciousness on various things. So one of the mystic powers is the power to know your previous lives. So how does that happen? When you concentrate with ekagrata, one-pointedness, on the samskars, the impressions in your own chitta, then you can see your previous lifetimes. So depending on how deeply you can do this, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, more and more lifetimes. So this yogi named Jaigishavya, he was very famous because in his meditation he could see back through all the lifetimes in 10 cosmic cycles, 10 creations. Supreme Lord, he manifests the world for 311 trillion years and then it's dissolved again. The life of Lord Brahma. And then again the universe is manifest and then dissolved. So this yogi remembered his past lives for 10 creations and destructions. How many lives is that? Approximately. 230 billion, trillion, quadrillion, gazillion. Give or take a life or two. Many, many lives. It's inconceivable for us. But he had that vision. So there was a rishi named Avatya Rishi. Now this Rishi, Avatya Rishi, he didn't have a gross body. He was a videha. That means a yogi who has got mystic perfections and doesn't have a gross body. So he used to wander here and there invisibly in his subtle body. But he was very fascinated and interested to find out, to do an interview with Jaigishabhya. So for this purpose, by his mystic power, he manifested a gross body, and he came to Jaigishabhya and said, "Oh, Maharaj, I want to ask you a question. You can remember all your lives from 10 cosmic cycles. So please tell me, in your experience, did you experience more happiness or more distress? What did you experience the most?" Now, Jaigishabhya, for those many lifetimes, in every lifetime, he was in Sattva Gun. Very high level of Sattva Gun. So Sattva Gun gives you a feeling of wisdom and happiness. But even though all those millions of lifetimes, he was situated very highly in Sattva Gun, without hesitation, he just said, it was all suffering. Avatya Rishi said, "But Maharaj, in those lives you have been demigods. You have been great yogis and transcendentalists. Did you not experience any happiness in all those lifetimes?" So then Jaigishabhya, he said, "It is true that the happiness of being situated in Sattva Gun seems like happiness relative to the misery of sense gratification." Right now we are thinking sense gratification, oh, very nice. Chocolate. We think sense gratification is happiness. But he, being in Sattva Gun, is saying, this happiness is misery when the consciousness is in Sattva. He said, but in the same way that the sense gratification of the ordinary person is a misery to a person in Sattva Gun. So similarly, for the person who is mukta, liberated, the happiness of Sattva Gun is miserable. Why? Because it's also a product of Prakriti, material energy. So there is no experience of the Chidananda, spiritual joy, anywhere in Prakriti, even in Sattva Gun. So Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, be careful. Sukha sangena badnati jnana sangena chanagaha. O sinless Arjuna, the mode of goodness conditions one, it binds you to a sense of happiness and to a sense of wisdom. But this is not real happiness and not real wisdom. Understand? Do you understand? So Sattva Gun is also binding. So our King Kulashekar, even when he came to Sattva Gun, he was looking at the world and seeing, oh really, it is only miserable here. And with great determination, he was serving the deity of Ananta Padmanabha. You know it is said 4 persons surrender to Krishna. One is those who are suffering. So he was suffering. Though he was very wealthy and very powerful. So he was serving Ananta Padmanabha. And because Ananta Padmanabha was pleased with him, then Guru Krishna Prasadi Pai Bhakti Lata Bij, Supreme Lord sent Guru to him. In fact, the Supreme Lord sent one of his intimate associates, Visvaksena. And Visvaksena came to Kulashekar Maharaj and gave him Diksha. That means gave him Pancha Sanskar. Tapa Pundram Tatha Nama Mantro Yagas Sapanchama Amihi Pancha Sanskara Parama Aikanti Hetavaha the cause of one-pointed devotion to the Lord is the combination of 5 samskars, which make up the process of diksha. The first one is tapa. So tapa, the general meaning is, in the Sri Sampradaya, when it's time for initiation, then they have a brand, with the sign of the chakra, and the conch, and the lotus, and the shankaja, and the gada. These are the symbols of Lord Narayan. So they put this metal brand in the fire and heat it up, and they come and they brand you. But that's the first stage, tapa. See? It's a very good system. Not like nowadays. So many persons traveling here and there. They come and to ignorant persons, they don't know Guru Tattva, they don't know Shishya Tattva or anything. They tell them, who wants initiation? I will give. And then people come. No, this is predatory. First you should understand what is Guru Tattva and what is disciple and what is Guru and all of these things. And undergo Guru Padashray, waiting at least 1 year before initiation. It is written in Hari Bhakti Vilas. Nowadays, people don't want to follow Shastra. So, but if they will tell, who wants initiation? Yes, maybe, I'll come here, I have to brand you first. Not so many people. So this is a test, who really, really wants initiation. And also, this branding you have to have every year. It has to be renewed also. Your membership has to be renewed every year. So, but what is the real meaning of tapa? The real meaning is anutap, regret, repentance. Not that your skin is burnt by iron, but your heart is burning that I have wasted my life. Hari Hari Bifila Janama Goyinu. So the first stage of initiation is repentance. When the spiritual master sees the humility in the eyes of that prospective disciple, that really they repent their materialistic life, then that is the first stage of initiation. Then Urdhva Paundram. Paundram means giving tilak. Tata Nama, and then giving Harinam. And then after some time, the next stage is mantra, giving Diksha mantra. And then the fifth samskar is yaga. Means the Guru teaches the disciple how to do puja to the deity. Or the process of archan, how to serve Thakurji every day. To organize your life, that Krishna is in the center. So these 5 things taken together is Panchanga Diksha. So, Kulashekha Maharaj received this directly from Supreme Lord's associate Visvaksena. And then he was, he had his family guru also in the palace, who would read to him and teach him every day Ramayana, Mahabharata, the Vedas, the Upanishads. And he very seriously was engaged in studying. So gradually, his Vaishnava qualities manifested. And his favorite scripture was Valmiki's Ramayana. So his Gurudev used to do Ramayana recital every day. And he would listen with complete Paramaikanti Heitavaha. Diksha, when you follow the 5 aspects of Diksha, it brings a Paramaikanti. That is focus. So he was listening to Harikatha with great attention. And when he was hearing the pastimes of Lord Ram, it wasn't like a story. For him it was happening there and then. It was real in the moment when he was hearing it. He was feeling the emotions. When Ram was happy, he was feeling happiness. And when Ram was sad, he was feeling distress. So one day, his Gurudev read one verse of Ramayana. There stands 14,000. On this side, 14,000 demons stand with sinful hearts and cruel hands. And on this side stands Lord Ram, of virtue known. How can our hero stand and fight alone? And when the king heard that Lord Ram was in the forest alone being attacked by 14,000 Rakshasas, the king was overwhelmed. I must go to help him at once. And he jumped up and he called his generals immediately. Make the armies into their phalanxes. Call the elephants and horses. We're going to war. We have to help Lord Ram. He's being attacked by 14,000 Rakshasas. So the king put on his armor and got all of his weapons. And the general told the soldiers, okay, just stand in line and be ready to march. So then all the soldiers were there and they marched off with the king riding on his horse at the front. Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. And the ministers are going, what can we do? So then one minister came with an idea. He said, listen, just get one division of cavalry, very fast division of cavalry, send them by another road ahead and make them do a big circle. And then when the army and the king are coming this way, the cavalry can come this way and they should bring the news to the king that the battle is over. And Ram has won, all the Rakshasas are dead, it's okay, you can go back. So then the king was coming when all the soldiers were marching, and then the king saw in the distance the cavalry coming on their horses the other way. And they said, Your Majesty, we have good news for you. Ram was victorious in the battle. So the guru of the king told the minister he should read one verse of Ramayana. So then they gave the news to the king. All the foes lay slain upon the ground, and Lord Ram returned. Sita Devi looked at him and with great pride embraced her hero. Oh, when King Kulashekar heard this, he was so happy. He was in complete bliss. Ram is victorious. Sita Devi has been protected, and now she's embracing him. Oh, my hero. And with great happiness, the king went back to the palace. So now, every day, his guru was reading the pastimes of Lord Ram to him. But he was very, very careful. All the happy parts, he would read them in detail. And when he got to something that was a bit sad, he would skip over that. He would just skip that part. So as they were going through the beautiful pastimes of Lord Ram, each time they got to an important event in the life of Lord Ram, then they would have a celebration. How sweet is it? This is Bhakti Yoga. You have to have a festival. So everyone can be absorbed in the bhav of that Harikatha. You know, just like in Vrindavan. If you go to a Bhagavad Saptaha, recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam. So then, when they get to the 10th canto and Krishna is born, oh, then they have deity of Balagopal in a cradle, and everyone comes and they bring toys for the newborn baby at the end of the Harikatha that day, when they come to the point where Krishna has been born. So they all come with toys and give them to the baby and sing Jio Shamalala, Jio Shamalala, Pili Teri Pagaiya Rang Kala. And they rock the baby, and everyone feels, Krishna has been born, and they get absorbed in that mood. Then the next day the Harikatha goes on. So gradually, they come to the point where Krishna told Nanda Maharaj, don't give all these things in an offering to Indra, you should worship Govardhan. So then all the Brijvasis, they make so many preparations and they offer them to Govardhan Hills. And then at the end of the Katha that day, everyone brings so many preparations, so many beautiful, delicious types of bhoga carrying on their head, and they make an offering to Govardhan. And so they become absorbed. As the Katha is going on, everyone is living it. So then gradually it comes to Rasa Leela. So then they have Arti to Radha Krishna, and Jewel and Leela swing past them. So listening to Harikatha, this is not Parischanna Gyan. You know, Parischanna Gyan means collecting data, information. Sitting there. Oh, did you hear what he said? What did he say? 3075 BC. Okay. This is not listening to Harikatha. You can note down, it's very good. Make notes and read them afterwards and chant and meditate on it. But that is not listening to Harikatha means avesh, being completely absorbed and experiencing that. So every day the king was hearing the happy pastimes of Lord Ram, and then his guru would flip over a few pages whenever there was a distressful pastime. Gradually, time was going by. And his guru, he had some obligation, some responsibility in another city. So he had to go to another city. But before he went, he told his son, listen, I have to go away for a few days, so you'll have to read Ramayana to the king while I'm away. But he forgot to tell his son, oh, and by the way, don't read the sad parts. So then his guru went away, and the son of the guru came for the recital. And the king came with all his close associates. And then he read how the wizard Marichi came and he lured Lord Ram away from the ashram, and in a disguise Ravan came and stole away Sita and took Sita to Lanka. When the king heard this, he became furious. Ravan, you are a dog. I will kill you. I'm going there at once. I must cross the ocean with all of my armies and will burn Lanka to the ground and kill Ravan and all of his soldiers. So then the king again, he got up. He called his generals. He told them, mobilize all the troops, let's go. So all the troops started marching in their battalions with their horses and elephants, with the king at the front. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. And they got to the shore of the ocean. So then the king, in the madness of love for Sita Ram, he just ran into the water with all his armor and weapons. And he was running through the water. You know those beaches which are very flat like that? And it just slowly gets deeper and deeper. So he was running through the water, and it was getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And all the ministers were watching and thinking, oh no, what can we do? And the king got up to his neck in the water. And just when he was about to drown, then he looked and saw very beautiful Lord Ram and with Sita at his side. He had their darshan. Lord Ram is so magnanimous, so peaceful, so gracious. He's a Derudata Nayak. The hero who is very chivalrous, very generous, very judicious. So Lord Ram, smiling, he said to the king, you should not fear. Ravan has been killed. Lanka has been burnt. And I am, as you can see, united with my beloved Sita. So now, just as we carry the living entities over the ocean of material existence to the spiritual world, I will carry you back to the shore, and you should return to your palace. And Sitaram, they picked up Kulashekha Maharaj out from the water, and they brought him back on the shore. And they followed with him back to the palace, and then when he got to the gate of his palace, they became apricot, disappeared. So, Kulashekha Maharaj, he was now feeling so much separation from Ram. He thought, how can I stay here? I'm going to leave everything and go to Srirangam. And there in the association of Vaishnavas, just serve Lord Ranganath in Sriranga. And he was thinking like this. And his ministers, they thought, oh, we cannot allow it. How can we let our king leave, abandon the kingdom? So they made a plan. And they contacted some Vaishnavas. And they had them brought to the palace. So because the king had a spirit of service to the Vaishnavas. Therefore, when new Vaishnavas arrived from any holy place, he would bow down to them and offer arti to them. How can I serve you? And give them everything. Oh, please stay in this room in my palace. After some time, then he would again get the feeling, I'm going to leave everything and go to Sriranga. Then again the ministers would bring in another group of Vaishnavas. And he would serve them. He was feeling so much separation. Krishna tvadiya pada pankaja panjarantam Adhyaiva me vishushamanasa rajahansa Prana pranaya samaye Pitta kafa vatai Kantava rodina vido smaranam kutaste. Srila Prabhupada used to love to sing this poetry composed by Kulashekha Maharaj himself in his Mukunda Mala Stotram. He's saying, Krishna tudiyat pada pankaja panjarantam. Sometimes there's a beautiful swan and they see many lotus flowers growing in the water, and the swan wants to play with them, and the swan has a long neck and the lotus flowers have long stems, and the swan goes and plays in the lotuses, and all the stems of the lotus get wrapped up and entangled around the neck of the swan, and he's just trapped in the lotus flowers. So in the same way, Kulashekha Maharaj is saying, Oh Krishna, today, adyaiva me vishatu manasa rajhansa, may the swan of my mind become entangled in your lotus feet. That means, may I be absorbed completely in smaran from you, and I can't get out of that smaran. I can't return to any ordinary or worldly state of consciousness, like our Rupa Goswami has prayed. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Bande, Krishna Deva Bhavantam Bande, Hamana Manasa Madhukaram Arpaya Nijapada Pankaja Makarande, Hamana Samadhukaram Arpaya Nijapada Pankaja Makarande. Are you fasting today? So Rupa Goswami, he said, Oh Krishna, may the bumblebee of my mind enter into the lotus of your lotus feet and drink the nectar there and become trapped and forget about everything. So similarly, Kulashekha Maharaj, he was praying, may the swan of my mind become entangled in your lotus feet right now, not later, now. Why? Because prana pranaya samaye pitaka vatai. At the time of death, all the pran becomes disturbed, and the elements of the body, kapha, pitta and vata, they become out of balance, and the voice is choked, and you're coughing. He says, at the time of death, how will I remember you when I'm in that distressful condition? So let me become absorbed in you right now. So these bhavs were manifesting in the heart of Kulashekha Maharaj. And he wanted to leave and go to Srirangam. So his ministers were bringing Vaishnavas slowly, slowly. The whole palace was completely packed with Vaishnavas from everywhere. So I don't know if you've ever had Vaishnavas stay in your house. You know what it's like, right? So they're all poor. They're hanging their dhotis here and there. You know what it's like. So finally, the ministers, they were so disturbed, they thought, what shall we do? The palace is completely packed and overcrowded with Vaishnavas because we kept doing this trick to keep the king here. And on the other hand, if we don't bring them, he'll leave us. So what should we do? And what's more, the king, he's serving them all the time. And even the king is saying that to serve these Vaishnavas is more important than even serving God. And this is Siddhanta. Krishna said, Mad Bhaktya Pujabhyadika. The worship of my devotee is superior to my worship. Ye Vaishnava Puja Achincha Krishna. Ye Vaishnava Bhajile Achincha Krishna Pai. Say Vaishnava Puja Hoite Arabaranai. In Chaitanya Bhagavad it is said that if you serve pure devotees, you will attain the inconceivable supreme Sri Krishna. And that sadhana of service to the Vaishnavas, there is no sadhana which can be equal to that. So everywhere in Shastra, this conclusion has been given. Krishna himself has said, Pratamantu Gurum Puja Tatastaiva Mamachanam Kuravam Siddhim Avapnoti Hyam Yata Nishvala Bhavet. Oh, first serve your Guru. After that, Krishna says, you serve me after that. If you serve me first, then it's uncertain whether you'll make any progress in spiritual life. But if you serve your Guru first and then serve me, then there's no doubt you must become Siddha. You become perfect in devotional life. So the king was glorifying all the Vaishnavas and the ministers were getting quite fried. So they thought, what can we do? So then they made a plan. We should discredit these Vaishnavas in the eyes of the king. So we'll frame them for something. So the king had a very beautiful jeweled necklace that he'd given to Anantapadmanabha. So the ministers arranged that that necklace would disappear. And then they came to the king and they said, Your Majesty, we have bad news. That beautiful jeweled necklace that you gave to the Supreme Lord, it's been stolen. The king said, really, who could have done it? The minister said, well, you know, there's so many poor people staying in the palace right now. It was probably one of them. And they put the blame on the Vaishnavas. So then the king, he became very grave. He said, oh, you think that such impurity can come in the mind of the Vaishnavas? What to speak of stealing? They cannot even in their mind, in their dreams, do such behavior. And I will prove it. He said, bring me a clay pot with a poisonous cobra inside. And I will put my hand in the pot. And if the Vaishnavas are innocent, he will not bite me. If the Vaishnavas have stolen it, then it will bite me. And if he doesn't bite me, then you are lying. So then the servants brought the pot with the cobras inside. And the king just went and put his hand in there. And looked at all the ministers. And the snake didn't bite him. So then he took out his hand. Then the ministers began to tremble. They fell at the feet of the king. Your Majesty, we're so sorry. We didn't want you to leave, that's all. Please forgive us. We'll return the necklace. So then the king, at once he forgave them. Let bygones be bygones. He did not hold a grudge. Because he's magnanimous. Like Lord Ram himself is very magnanimous. But there and then the king decided, I don't want to stay here with this kusanga. You know kusanga? Bad association. Asatsang. I don't want to stay with them. So I am leaving. So then he left everything. Except his daughter. He had a very beautiful young daughter. So he left his kingdom. And he went where he wanted to go for a long time. To Sriranga. And he took his daughter with him. So you may be thinking, oh, he's attached to his daughter. But when he got to Srirangam, he arranged her marriage to Ranganath. He married his daughter to the deity. Okay, now my responsibilities are done. My daughter will be fine. She's got a good husband. Best husband. And then he did bhajan. Completely absorbed in love for Bhagavan until the age of 67. Then he became aprakat from this world and went into the eternal pastimes of the Supreme Lord. So, that Kula Shekhar Maharaj, in his Mukunda Mala Stotram, he's given a very beautiful verse. He said, and you should all learn it. Mats janmana phalamidam madhukaitavari mat prataniya madanugara esha eva tvad britya britya paricharika britya britya brityasya britya iti mam smara lokanata. O Lokanath, Supreme Lord of all the worlds. O Krishna, you have killed the demons, Madhu and Kaitava. The fruit of being born, Mats janmana palamidam. The real fruit of being born in this world, which is mat pratani, the only thing that I pray for. And Madanugraha, and the only thing which I consider your mercy upon me. What is that? To serve your devotees. Tvad britya, britya means servant. Tvad britya, britya, paricharika, britya, britya. Paricharika means a very close servant who's doing all personal services like dressing, bathing, washing, feeding. Brityasya britya, iti mam smarlokanata. It will be my great fortune that when you think of me, you only think of me that I am the servant of the servant of the servant of the very intimate personal servant of the servant of the servant of your servant. This is the perfection of my life if you'll think of me in this way. And by humbly serving Vaishnavas, then our adhikar will go up. And then we'll realize Golokya Prem Dan Harinam Sankirtan, that the greatest treasure of Golok Vrindavan has descended to this world in the form of Nam Prabhu. Ananta Kodi Vaishnava Brinda ki jai, Sri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Jai Gaura Premanande, Hari Bol.